Hello, everybody. Today is the 21st of March, 2026, and we are gathered here today for the 224th session of Mindfulness for Beginners in English, conducted by Nisaranavanaya. I would like to welcome Venerable Rohini for this session, and of course, everyone else who's joining us via Zoom, and anyone who may be watching us via YouTube live stream as well. To begin today's session, I now invite Venerable Rohini to start the in-session practice of mindfulness.
Thank you, Sonali. Hello, everyone. So we will start our in-session practice today. I think we are going to sit today for 15-20 minutes. So once you settle, sit comfortably for sitting, mindful sitting. So if you are now in a comfortable mood, so you can sit now. And if you wish, you can open your camera to encourage others. So once you sit comfortably, keep your hands in a comfortable manner and observe your posture and relax your each and every muscles. If there's any tense, you can release them. For that, you can observe from top to toe with your mind. So you may feel the eyes close. You may feel the lips are touching each other. Your hands on your lap or wherever it is. You may feel the bended knees, straight back. So just relax and keep your attention with your body. Whenever your mind drifts away for sounds or thoughts, so don't worry about them. If you can listen to the sound when it's distracted by a sound, you can listen. So we call it mindful listening. So if your mind is drifted away from thoughts, as soon as you knew it, you can bring your attention back to the body. The most important thing is not to worry. When it is gone away, when your mind is roaming around, just don't worry about it. As soon as the mind come back to the body, the bodily awareness, you can observe the body. The people who are practice for long, you may notice your breath. In nostrils, breathe in and breathe out. Or you might feel the tummy movements. Whatever the prominent feeling, that could be your object to keep your attention. So if it is the breath, observe the breath. Observe it closely. If it is the tummy movement, observe it closely. If it is just the posture, close it. Watch it closely. Whenever your mind drifts away, don't be angry. Just appreciate when it comes back. Be happy whenever it comes back. If you have any aches and pains, that might bother you also. If you can ignore it, please do so. If you are not comfortable, then you can change the posture, but change it slowly, mindfully. Okay, everyone. I hope you all had good sitting meditation, mindful sitting. What do you, Sonali?
Thank you, Venerable Rohini. Yes, that's the end of our in-session practice of mindfulness. The next is our talk on today's topic. It's a new topic we're discussing for this week and next week, and it's a very important topic and an issue that most of us struggle with, even if we don't verbalize it or show it in our actions. Some of us struggle internally with this as well, and it is on anger. So to start the talk on today's topic, I now invite Venerable Rohini again.
Thank you, Sonali. Okay, it's a new topic for the this week and to the next week. Topic is the anger. The Seneca's terms is there. The best remedy for anger is delay. So our poster write-up is the best remedy for anger is delay. So that was written by Seneca. Seneca is a Roman philosopher. So they call it Stoicism or Stoic philosopher. So before I start with the Seneca's term, I like to talk about the anger first. So what is this anger? Actually, anger is a universal experience. We see angry animals. We see sometimes the weather is behave like an angry animal. So it's getting angry. So likewise, it is a universal experience. For animals, it is their nature to protect themselves. But unfortunately for human, it is a challenge because we need to behave in a civilized way and we need to keep the mind in healthy manner. So it is a challenge for us as a human. When we get angry, so our mind is get spoiled or poisoned. So we need to keep the mind in healthy manner, healthy way. So to keep that, we need to know about the anger. So anger is also a mind factor. There are 52 mind factors according to the Buddhism. So one of them is anger. So it is we born with that. So we can't avoid it. So the problem is how we can manage it, how we face to this challenge. That is the question. So in that sense, the anger is not the problem. The problem arises mostly when anger is overwhelmed by impulse. So the problem is we can't avoid that impulse. We really forget the reason for anger when the impulse arises. So impulse is dominating over the anger, and out of impulse we react. That is the problem. So we all know the cost of anger is so high. If you can't manage the anger, it damages the relationships, it damages your judgments, it damages your decisions, and mostly it leads to the deep regret. So the other thing is the anger often harms the angry person rather than the others. When you are angry, that destroy your mental situation. It harms your mentality as well as your bodily feelings as too. So it harms the angry person rather than the others. So sometimes when you get angry, sometimes your bodily feelings are changing. You get red, you get flush or with hot flashes. Likewise, there are so many changes happens in your body as well as in your mind. Most of the time, whatever you do out of your anger, whatever you say out of your anger, those are regretful. Those are embarrassed. Sometimes even make you ashamed. So that is why we need to understand what is anger, and we need to understand how we can overcome the anger, or how can manage the anger, how we delay the response when we get angry. So delay is kind of protection. It protects your own peace of mind as well as around some people around you. So if you are angry, if you can delay, then it will protect your mind as well as the others. So keep that in mind. The delay is according to Seneca, it delays the how do you call remedy for anger. So when we think about anger, so we don't need to frustrate about it, because we have a lot of ancient wisdoms and traditions. So they gave us a lot of practical tools, tools to overcome or tools to transfer that anger into something else. So I think those are more relevant than ever these days. So a lot of people, we also get angry so easily, and we are so frustrated for lifestyle and so on. So the traditions and the ancient wisdom may or might help us to improve our wisdom towards how to overcome the anger. So the Seneca, the Stoic approach is the power of delay. Actually, he was a statesman, he was a writer, he was a philosopher, and he used to be advisor to the Roman Empire. So he's a wise person. So his advice is to delay. The best remedy for anger is delay. That is what he says. So that means anyone who get anger need to pause before reacting. Before reacting to the emotional trigger, there should be a pause. So that is what he said. As I said before, that mostly anger overwhelmed by the impulse. So impulse gives the, how do you call, it's like it increased the anger, or it increased the reaction. So what the delay does, the delay gives us space for reason to return to the calmer or wise response. So when I say that, when you read this Seneca's statement, some might think that you are going to suppress or deny the anger. Suppress means you have anger, and you try to push it back. Or you have anger, but you are denying it. No, I don't have anger. So not like that. Here what we say, but the interrupting the power of anger. So there are many ways to do that. So what Seneca says, one of the ways is delaying. So by delaying the power of anger, you can transfer into a very healthy, good energy. So what he suggests is you can count whenever you are angry, you can count from 1 to 10 or from 10 to 0, or you can count up to the 100. So the distracting your anger. So counting is distract your anger. Or you can walk away from the triggering thing. It may be a person, it may be a thing. So you can walk away if possible. That is also something you can do to distract. And sometimes you can have a deep breath. So according to Seneca, so distraction is delay. So if you can delay the response and the anger, between anger and the response, if you can keep a space, that is the best thing. So he suggests to distract it. By distracting, keep the space. When we consider the Buddhism and mindfulness perspective, so we are practitioners of mindfulness. So when we consider that Buddhist way and the mindfulness perspectives, as I said before, we can transform this anger into a good, healthy energy by doing mindfulness practice. And there are some other tools from Buddhist scripts. So delay is not just waiting for anger to fade for a mindfulness practitioner. It is a space for observation and transformation in mindfulness and Buddhism. So as a mindfulness practitioner, what we use the delay to observe the anger, to transform the anger into something else. So that's what we are suggesting from mindfulness practitioners to do. So according to Buddhism, one of them is patience. It is like an antidote. So we call it in Kanti in Pali. So the patience is an antidote for the anger. Being patient doesn't mean that passive acceptance. You are not accepting, I have anger, but I should not, it is not like lethargic acceptance, not passive acceptance, but active endurance. So you need to have wisdom there. So it is like, just imagine there's a storm. You are in the middle of a storm and you are trying to protect your ground. Just imagine like that. You are trying to protect your ground, keeping steady and unshaken. So when you are having anger, it is like that. So if you can practice the endurance while you are having anger, so that is like you are protecting your land while the very strong middle of the storm. And in Buddhism, they say the anger is like a forest fire. And it is, we call Leugini. The forest fire it is so hard to extinguish. But only extinguisher is the water. So you need to act like a water when you have anger. It's like meeting fire with cool water. So if you are hungry, if you drink a very cool water, if when you are thirst, when you in the middle of the tropical island at 12 o'clock, so you feel very thirsty. And if you can drink a cold water or cold drink, so you're cooling down. So that means you are not choosing not to choose adding any fuel to that fire in here. So adding any fuel to your anger. So what you need to do, you need to let the flames die down naturally. So if you can, what you have to do by being patient to calm down or to cool down the fire, to cool down the anger in a natural way. So for that, the secret pause, we call it mindfulness, is the best. So if you want to find a delay or if you want to find a space between stimulus and the response, so there are some stimulus, so you are going to respond. If you can find a space in between, that is the best. That is the Seneca's suggestion, delay. So mindfulness is providing a suitable environment for that delay. But first you need to practice mindfulness with your bodily sensations. Otherwise you can't find the anger before you get fired. The first of all, you need to find the mindfulness, or you need to practice mindfulness with your bodily sensations to build up the energy you need to observe the emotional challenges, emotional feelings. Otherwise, you can't observe them. Before you try to observe, you will overwhelmed by the impulse. So because of that, you need to practice mindfulness practice. You need to do every day as a habit over your bodily sensation. Then, whenever you get emotional feelings like anger, then you can acknowledge it because you have kind of patience by practicing bodily feelings. So when you practice, even today, when you practice mindful sitting or mindful walk, whenever your mind drifts away from your object, you get frustrated and ultimately you get anger towards yourself. Why I can't do this? My mind is always moving around, and why I can't concentrate on one thing. There are so many complaints, not for anyone else, but for yourself. So this kind of anger you need to overcome. So for that you need to practice it. When you practice mindful awareness with your bodily feeling, you you get energy to tolerate some angers. The natural way when the anger comes, when something distracted your mindfulness practice, the anger comes. If someone is making sounds, making noises, then you get angry. So when you observe those things, so those are very simple things, very common anger. That is not aggressive anger. When you practice those anger, when you observe those anger, when you practice to manage or overcome, just to ignore those anger and come back to your main object and practice your mindfulness on daily basis. So you have added up, or you have accumulate some kind of energy to face very angry moments. So first you need to practice mindfulness with the bodily sensation, then you can find the emotional feelings. And whenever you find that emotional feelings, you need to acknowledge it. Okay, now I am getting anger. And then you can recognize, and then you can, how do you call, then you can name it. Oh, this is anger. So doing that, it shifts from being angry to observing anger. So being angry is something and observing anger is something different. So what I'm saying, when you are practicing mindfulness, you already practicing to overcome or overlook the anger. So just to observe the anger. So by doing that, you might feel when you are angry, you might feel like the mother holding a crying baby without judgment. So when you are holding a baby who is crying, you don't have any judgment. You need to, you are always trying to, how do you call, the baby to give you a non-judgmental response. You want to give him attraction. You want to give him the compassion, your heartfelt compassion. So likewise, when you get angry, you need to hold your anger with that attraction. So it is hard. That is why you need to practice every day. You need to practice the mindfulness practice. You need to do the mindfulness practice every day. So Seneca versus Buddhist mindfulness practice is Seneca introduced the space or the delay. So what mindfulness practitioner use that delay to cultivate another energy. Cultivate compassion, cultivate insight, wisdom, cultivate deep observation. So likewise, in mindfulness practitioners, Buddha told us you can use, or we can use, 3 type of key concepts in Buddhism. One is impermanence. So what we can do when anger comes, we can say, okay, it is impermanent, because anger is like a passing storm. It is not a permanent one, or it is, because it is not permanent, it is not part of me. So if you can think in that sense, if you can think in that way, that you can observe that anger, and anger will let go. Anger will go. So observing like that, like it is like an impermanent thing. So now I am angry, but it will not last long. So it will go. It is an impermanent thing like other things. So then we can let go. The other thing is, always the conditioning thing. So you get anger because of the external conditions, or person, or the things, whatever happened. So the external things always responsible for your anger. So that if the responsible condition is a person, so that person is now suffering. He or she herself is suffering now, because that person is getting anger, means that person is angry and suffering. So his or her mind is not in well condition now. Recognizing that, you can respond with the compassion. If someone is angry, so you can understand, okay, that person is really not in a relaxed mood. So when someone is angry, that person is suffering. When we see a suffering person, what we need to do, we need to spread our compassion, not the retaliation. So if someone is angry, if someone is blaming you out of anger, then if you are talking back to out of anger, that is not the thing. So what you need to do, if someone is angry, that means the person is suffering, then you have to spread your compassionate. So the other thing is, it is not self. Instead of seeing it is my anger or it is his anger, just look at simply, it is the anger. If you can look like that, without saying or without understanding or without thinking that it is my anger or it is his anger or her anger, just see like the anger. So what we need to do in summary is, if you can observe, if you can understand, if you can realize, or if you can transfer by looking at it as an impermanent thing, looking at it like a conditional thing, or looking at it as like a not self thing, then you can transfer your emotions or someone else's emotions. You can help someone else's emotions to transfer to something good energy. So there are some lessons from Sutta also, from Buddhist scripts. One is from Lekha Sutta, that is from Anguttara Nikaya, third book. So in there, it is explained the delay let you choose what to do and how to respond. In there, Buddha described three kind of people, persons in this world. One is when they get angry, it is like a angry person, like a script on stone. When you write something on a stone, it lasts long. It will not disappear. It will not fade away quickly with water or with any wind. It lasts long. The other persons, their anger is like writing on a sand, writing on sand bed. If you write something on sand bed, it will fade away quickly with water or even wind. If the other person, the three kind of people, Buddha said, so one is one's anger is like writing on a stone. The other one is writing on a water. The last one the second one is writing on sand. The last one is writing on water. So Buddha prescribed these three type of people. So someone whose anger is like writing on water means it's instantly disappear. So when you have any kind of anger, you can ask yourself, am I making this a line in a stone or line in water? So you have a space, you have a delay to think about that. So I am in anger now. Am I going to make it line in a stone or line in water? So you can think those two. Then you can decide what you are going to do. By doing that, you can let it pass instead of letting it define you as an angry person. Second sutta is found in Samyutta Nikaya. It calls Akkosa Sutta. In there, one of the Brahmin came and he blamed Buddha. He insulted Buddha actually with harsh words. Buddha remains calm and asks simple question. What he asked the Brahmin, if you offer food to guests and they don't accept it, to whom does the food belong? Then the Brahmin answer, it remains with the giver. Then Buddha said, I am not taking your harsh words, so you can keep them. So we can get a lesson from that sutta. When someone is angry with you, or if you are angry with someone, so the delay you can use for decide to not to accept that gift. If you react with anger, then you are joining them for dinner. Oh, come and I accept your gift and come and have dinner with me, like that. So if you stay calm and keep that space, delay for the answer or delay for the response, then anger stays with them. It will not transfer into your mind. So just next time, if you can visualize yourself politely declining that unwanted gift, that will transfer the other person's anger too. Another sutta I found, that one is from Anguttara Nikaya also, Agata Vinaya Sutta. In that sutta, Buddha described 5 ways of facing or using the delay. The Buddha offers 5 practical actions to take during your delay time. So one is maintaining loving kindness. As I said before, the other person, if one person is angry, you are the susceptible person for that angry person. You can see or you can look at that angry person is in suffering. When you see that suffering, you can spread your loving kindness. One. The second one is you can spread your karuna, the compassion, when the other one is suffering. And you can hold the equanimity, upekka, remaining steady and balanced. You are not saying anything, you are using the delay without response. First one is you spread metta in your mind. You can spread karuna. Or you are not doing anything, you just observe what he is doing. And you are steady. For that, you need to have a kind of well-practiced mindfulness, actually. The fourth one is just ignore it. So walk away is the wise thing for that. If you can walk away from the triggering person or triggering environment, that's the best. And the last one is reflect on karma. So the consequences. There are own consequences for your own actions. So if you can remember it whenever you get anger or whenever someone is angry, so if you can memorize, okay, the consequences are there. Kamma and kamma vipaka. Kammasa kata jnana samma ditthiya, we call it the first right view. Just imagine applying just one of these in the next time when you or when someone else is angry, that will melt, or just even a small shift like pausing to wish someone well can change the whole situation, entire tone of the conflict. So just try it. The last one I found in Kodana Sutta is in there, Buddha said, when you are angry, that anger do things to you, whatever your enemy would wish to do. The Buddha prescribed many things that enemies wishes, like restlessness, sleeplessness, loss of your wealth, loss of your health. You know, the enemies are wishing all those things to you. When you get angry, all those things comes, all these misfortunes come automatically. Actually, you will bring them by being angry. So the delay is the best thing. And if you are not delay, or if you are, while you are being delayed, then you can think, okay, if I get respond, or if I am going to react, then I am doing whatever my enemies want me to do. So by thinking that, also you can avoid your sudden reactions. In conclusion, I like to say that Seneca, he prescribed, or he said out of his wisdom, keep the delay. So he prescribed, or he mentioned the counting to 10, or letting reasons return before we act, or move away from the triggering things. And according to the mindfulness practice, we gain a way to use that delay, not just to wait, but to observe it, to understand it, and to transform anger into the patience and compassion. So please observe, be patient, and wish others well, if you can, anytime. So you are not powerless in the face of anger, actually. So we all are facing this anger, but we are not powerless. If we are practicing mindfulness, so each movement is a pause. It's a chance to choose understanding over impulse, compassion over conflict. The difference between the swept away by emotion and responding with wisdom is just a few seconds or one breath away. So a pause or delay is the best. So practice mindfulness, practice to be delay. So while you are practicing mindfulness on breath, you can practice this delay. When you have feeling towards, the angry feelings towards yourself, you can practice this. Why should I be angry? So instead you can compassionate towards your own mind. You can spread metta to your own mind and practice it to your own mind. But you can practice metta and karuna to your own mind, and then you can spread it to others. So I encourage you all to practice these skills, not just in a moment of crisis, but as part of your daily life. With time, you will find that anger loses its grip. And what remains is a deeper peace and resilience. So thank you for listening. I hope you will get deep, in-depth connection and in-depth explanation next week from Bante. So come and listen next week as well with the same topic. Thank you. Thank you for listening. Over to you, Sonali.
Thank you, Venerable Rohini. I think we will take away some things and try this. It's not going to be easy, but we will try applying some of the things that you have taught us today. And we'll be waiting for the next week's session from Bante to hear more about this as well. So we will go back to our usual agenda, and we will move on to the talk on today's topic, as well as any reports, the reports on the today's that we have been received, and any questions from anyone who's had been listening as well. So to start this, I now invite Samantha. If you could first share the guide as well. I will share the screen.
Yeah, thank you, Sonali, and thank you, Venerable Rohini, for that really valuable talk on anger. I think that's something that one of the deep roots that we all have and need to work on. And Venerable gave some really helpful advice, and look forward to discussing the advice on the delay. Yeah, that's really helpful. Thank you, Venerable Rohini. As Sonali mentioned, we have received two reports this week. And before I go to read them, and also if anyone has any questions, or if anyone on the talk or on their practice as well, please send it to me in the chat box, or for everyone, or directly to me, and then I can read it out. So before I go to read the reports, I'd just like to remind everyone, or any newcomers, on the basic guidance, which I think Sonali will put in the chat box soon. And basically, basic guidance on how to meditate, and how to submit your experiences of meditation in the form of a report to Bante or Venerable Rohini. And then they can both give you valuable guidance and advice how to progress in your own meditation. So they are helpful in the website. There are helpful 2 video links put together by Nisarana Vanaya on both mindful walking and mindful sitting. You can allocate some time for the practice, just like Venerable Rohini advised on to increase our mindfulness, which is very important. I'm learning as well to start daily, starting with walking and then sitting. Gradually, you can start slowly and then building up to 2 hours per day. And then you can submit your experiences both in writing of both mindful walking and of sitting, and in the form of a report online or in the actual the Google chat. There's an example in the chat how to do this, or in the website if you go into the website. For example, if you're walking, you can describe any prominent sensations, textures of the ground, pressure points on the soles, and how the body weight shifted. Similarly, in sitting meditation, you can refer to any prominent sensations of example, if it's the breath, the incoming and outgoing breath at the nostrils, or if it's at the stomach, the rising of the abdomen and falling, etc., whichever your preferred object is of meditation. And then you can write your experiences, mindful experiences, also on daily activities during the day. Obviously, that's what it's not just sitting and walking in between the hours. We have to be mindful as well. That's also important. Then in the session, Bhante and both Venerable and Venerable Rohini will both give valuable guidance to your own practice and how to progress in your meditation. So do make use of this opportunity, and you can send your reports either in the Google form or by email, as I said before, using the links in the chat or in the Nisarana website. So this is a really good opportunity to progress in your meditation and continue. And the Bhante and Venerable Rohini will give advice on your meditation and during the week, and you can continue with that according to their advice given, and increase your practice and how to improve as well. Finally, the recordings of the sessions are also available of today's and the past sessions in the Nisarana website, and also in the chat that will be put in later on. So now I will go on to read the 2 reports that we have received. Let me just have a look at the first one. So the first report we have is by an adult, and it's mindful walking. At the beginning, feet movements were prominently felt. Body weight shifted in a familiar pattern. Noted how upper body tilted forward, going up the hills, and tilting backwards when going down the slopes. Sometimes attention moved to breathing, sounds, clothes touching the body. Walked for about 45 minutes. Then experience on mindful sitting. Sat in a comfortable position, prominent breath noted near nostrils. Attention was on familiar rhythm of in and out breath. Everything went quiet and fell asleep, not sure. At some point, prominent breath noticed again, with a long breath, arising and passing, phenomena observed with breath. Boredom, peace, and pain. Sat for 50 minutes. Although something about the session is written here, mostly it felt like a jumble. Mind has experienced the jumbled nature before and noticing the low level aversion towards it. Mindfulness during the day. There was a week-long professional training at the end of February, which was expected to be difficult. Content was not rocket science, just that each trainee was expected to perform their skills in front of the whole group of about 30 people and the 2 trainers. Then feedback expected from whole group to each delegate as well. Noted how the ego of I, me, and mine was alive and feeling vulnerable. The more time passed, the more vulnerable the ego felt. To complicate matters, the mind was noticing the collective anxiety, fear, and vulnerability of the whole group. Literally, could feel that anxiety as a buzzing energy inside and outside the body. Funny thing was the aspect of the mind that observed all of this without commentary and inner chatter. Observer part just watching the drama of fear, display, and superior egos, inferior egos, and other craziness of the human minds. One part of the mind reacting to pressure and anxiety of the situation fully, and another part of the mind just observing it and still. Training ended 3 weeks ago, and the knot in the stomach and restlessness due to the performance anxiety only loosened many days after the training. It was difficult experience in a worldly sense, and yet a useful experience in a spiritual sense. The practice of mindfulness seemed intact during the training, noticing and recording what was unfolding without assessing as good or bad. While the egoistic part was reacting like a crazy being, so much to notice and learn about this mind. Dear Bante, look forward to your valuable feedback. Terwan Saranai. That's the first report, Venerable Rohini.
Okay, thank you. Samantha, I was looking for your name. Okay, so it's a good report actually. Rather than explaining or describing the mindful sitting and walking. Sitting, it says about something sleep. So there's a doubt about sleep or not. So that was catch my attention. So if you have a doubt about that kind of thing, if you feel like, okay, I went to sleep and if there's a doubt, then what you need to do, just observe whenever you feel you went for a sleep, just observe when you come back, where to come back. Come back to the breath or come back to your primary object, whatever the object. Maybe it is the posture, maybe it's the tummy movements or breath, or whatever the bodily sensation or the prominent one or the object. Just observe when it come back from sleep, where to come. So when you observe it, you can decide whether it is a sleep or it is a kind of part of the meditation, part of the mindfulness practice. If your attention come back to the main object, so then that it is not the sleep. If you are coming back to somewhere else and if you are wandering, just wandering, then it can be a sleep. So whatever it is, don't worry. So that is the main thing. And the other one is day-to-day activity. That's a very good observation, actually. When you face that kind of things, you just get because out of ego. Yes, we all have ego. Everyone doesn't like to be shamed or be like, the anxiety comes naturally, and that's normal. So it's all observed well. So the observation is went there. What I want to say, when you observe that kind of anxiety or that kind of things, you can bring your attention back to your body because you are not ready, still not ready to, or still not have enough energy to overcome that anxiety. So what you can do, you can come back to the breath. A couple of breath you can take, deep breath, like that. Couple of 2-3 breaths will fade away that anxiety. So that will forget your egoistic thoughts. Or maybe you can, a couple of time, if you are Buddhist, the writer, whoever, if you are Buddhist, you can once or twice you can recite in your mind Itipiso, the chanting of Buddha's quality, or just you can recite to yourself, be happy or be mindful or just be how do you call, feel well. Just to distract that anxiety, just to distract that egoistic mindset. So the distraction, like today, the delay, you can use it for that type of situations. Just use some kind of distraction. Is the best thing is come back to the bodily movement, come back to the breath, couple of, not many. So then you will release from that anxiety. So that's all I wanted to say. So duality is there, always duality is there. So it in a last couple of sentences, it describes that duality. There is a observer and the body, and anxiety and observer. Anxiety observer is there also. So that is a good observation. But if you can't manage, if you don't have the strength to manage it, then the best thing is come back to the body for a couple of seconds, maybe 2-3 breaths, maybe, or one time recite of Buddha's qualities or whatever you feel comfortable. Come back to it and then face to the reality, face to the present moment. I hope the writer got the answer or advice. If there are any other questions, please raise your hand and ask.
Thank you, Venerable Rohini. And I'll read the second report, Venerable, again by an adult. So it's on mindfulness during the day. A lodger moved in and brought mud and clutter. I noticed anger rising, heat in my face, shoulders tensing, then remembered the house isn't mine. Don't take it when I go. Don't take it when I go. The tension eased, heat disappeared, peace arose in the mind, and I offered the tired lodger a cup of tea. On the next day, after a day of teaching, the head teacher gave notice. The school can't afford to keep my job contract. Mind was surprisingly calm. A brief neck tension, then a mindful decision to walk up and down in the classroom, noticing thoughts as they came and went, for the friction in the mind, anxious thoughts about the future without following them. The friction in my mind faded soon. The tension in the neck area remained for some time and noted it fade. On the train back home arose a practical solution: rent a room for income. And an open-hearted next step: book a one-way ticket to Sri Lanka to care for my mum. I accept uncertainty and totally surrender to nature. The practice is giving my challenges, sometimes gains and sometimes losses, but determined to go through them. There is so much resilience in the mind. Much merit to you, Bante, for showing me the path. That's the end of the report, Venerable Rohini.
Okay, Santa. Yeah, these things happen, eh? It's unavoidable things happen in life. And what we need to do, we can't avoid most of the things because the karma and karma pala, sometimes we have to face. But like Pollyanna. So Pollyanna saw every incident has a good side of it. You know, every cloud has a silver line. So that is, like if you look at whatever happened, if you look at it in a positive way, there is something good from that. For Pollyanna, she got scratches instead of a doll. Then what her father said, okay, you can be happy because you don't need to use the scratches because your legs are good. So you should be happy about it. Although you got the crutches, you don't need to use it because you are healthy now. So Pollyanna took it in a very deep into her mind, and she used every time because she had to face a lot of crises in her life. I mean, early life. So whatever happened, she used that. The she used to see the good side of everything. So here also, what I heard is right. If it is right, so the person who bought one-way ticket to look after mother, that is the best thing. I did once like that. They didn't ask me to, they didn't, how do you call, stop my job, but I resigned. And because I just wanted to resign from that job because I couldn't bear that manager. So I resigned from the job and I went to Sri Lanka and look after my mom. So 3 months I was there looking after my mom, and she passed away after that 3 months. So anyway, so that gave me time to be with my mother. So likewise, whoever the person who wrote this last report had done the best thing. So face to the reality with positive mind. and everybody will get tension and the backache and all those things, and you will remind that the things will remind you whatever happened in the past, that will come again and again. Use your mindfulness practice, use the positive thinking. You will overcome that. Whoever the person who was writing, you will overcome it. And please look after mom, and everything will go nice way. Everything will happen in a nice way. I hope and I wish. So things happen to people. So we all are susceptible for anything. The Buddha also said nothing is permanent, everything is impermanent. So we will need to face it. We need to have that encouragement, or we need to have that courage and strength. So Bhante, and with this program, so you all have had that kind of encouragements from Bhante and guidance from Bhante. So you are in a well-shaped platform. So I'm very happy about your decision, and go and look after your mother. So everything will be going in smoothly in right direction. Thank you for sharing with us.
Thank you, Venerable Rohini. Yeah, I too was thinking what a beautiful story that was. Someone's adverse situations, how they turned it and fell into the Dhamma so wonderfully. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Yeah. We've got 5 more minutes left. If anyone has any more questions or on the topic of anger or on their practice, please do raise your hand, and Venerable Rohini can help answer your questions. Just see if there's any hands raised.
Or keep up to next week, and then you can ask from Bhante.
Yeah. So far, we have no hands raised. But just since we've got a few more minutes, one thing I like to ask Venerable Rohini is, it was such a wonderful, obviously, important topic that we're discussing today and next week. Like this about giving compassion to someone who's angry, say at oneself, because that doesn't come easily. It also depends on the person. Like, say if it's a child, then it's easy to give compassion, respond with compassion, because obviously, a child, they're not, they don't really know what they're doing sometimes. But if it's an adult and if it's justified, and if they're reacting um, unjustified manner and blaming you for something that's incorrect, and for that sort of reason, it's difficult to sort of like at first have compassion, because he feels that, I suppose, the ego gets in the way and they're blaming me, and it's not fair that those emotions come in the way. So I suppose in those sort of circumstances, would that compassion come through practice eventually of metta and everything, as that becomes stronger, and initially it might be better to sort of like to buy the time, the delay, by going to the breath or just seeing how the body feels before reacting.
Yeah, first you can observe. Actually, you need to practice observing it first, and gradually you need to go the way. First you need to observe it, and while you are observing, you can see when you get angry how your body is changing and how your mind is changing. The feelings and emotional feelings are changing, and how it affect to your how do you call, the calmness. So you can observe that, and then you can interpret others' anger with that experience. So then you know the other one is, when the other one is angry, the same mindset, same situation is running on that person. So you know how hard is it. So with that understanding, then you can feel the others suffering. Then only you can spread your metta or karuna. So first you need to understand your anger by observing it, and that inferential knowledge you can adapt into the others. By doing that, you can spread your loving kindness or the compassion towards the other person. Except what you said, the children are innocent and you can always forgive them. But first of all, you need to experience, or you need to practice forgiving and yourself. Forget and forgiving yourself is the first thing you have to practice. By doing that, you get some kind of knowledge and wisdom. You can apply that knowledge and wisdom to the other person or other when the other conflicts are happening. So first, you need to go through gradual process. First is yourself, observe yourself, practice onto yourself. Sometimes you get angry. Me also, or maybe you also get angry yourself by not doing something, or by doing something wrong, or when you observe that. So if I did something wrong, then I am angry with myself. Then if you can observe it, then you can observe how your mind is changing, how does it affect to your bodily actions, and how does it make you suffer. When you observe it again and again, then you can put that knowledge, the inferential, to other person, like a inferential knowledge. So you like Buddha, you don't know how that the other person's mind is working, but you can put your knowledge into the other person's situation, and then you can observe, and then you can have a feeling when what I want to say, when you have that kind of wisdom and a strength to tolerate someone else, then you can spread your loving kindness or the compassion. For that, you need to have a kind of strength and wisdom. For that, you need to practice. You need to observe your own anger. You need to observe how you change it, or what kind of things help to change it. So those are observation, the actual observation or the positive observation. Then you can put them into the other people. Just imagine that when the other person, just imagine the Donald Trump these days. So his anger, can you imagine how he sleep? Can you imagine how his mind is working right now? So if you feel anger towards him, for me, I feel so sorry about him, because he is suffering a lot. So he could have a good life like others, with some sophisticated physical things, and all those things are around him. He has everything, but he has no any calmness in his mind. So just imagine. So likewise, even for your whoever blaming you have the same situation, maybe maybe bigger than that, because Donald Trump is fighting for someone's country. So if someone is blaming you, that person is suffering from his own ego, or his own something he wants to have. So you are distracting him. Maybe he is blaming you. Just imagine how that mind is working.
Mm.
I feel so sorry actually. If someone is angry, then I feel, oh, what kind of person is that to make his or her mind into that agony? Put
Mm.
that into agony.
Thank you,
Just
Venerable Rohini.
Yeah, just imagine and just feel it, and then automatically it will come to your mind. Okay, so may that person will be happy. May that person have a good mindset. May that person free from suffering.
Mm.
You might
That's,
feel it.
yeah, I certainly, yeah, that's really helpful. Thank you, Venerable. It's like internal, external, what Buddha keeps saying, and how really being mindful is you're in control and of the situation really, and not reacting, and especially thinking of certain people that really can control it. So it's a good platform to be in. Sadhu, 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 Venerable Rohini. So I think we've reached now. Yeah, we've gone just 5 minutes past, and I'll hand back to Sonali to finish off the session. Thank you.
Thank you, Samantha, and thank you very much, Venerable Rohini. It is now the end of session, and before we end it, we have a reminder for everyone. If you're able to help us with the program, please get in touch. We are looking for hosts and help with reading reports or anything that you can offer, any kind of help that you can offer as well. So please get in touch with beginnersnva@gmail.com, or just send me a message while we're on the program. Just introduce whoever who would like to help us as well. So on behalf of the organizers now, I would like to thank Venerable Rohini first for her valuable time and for giving us guidance on this program. And our usual guide, Venerable Homagama Dhammakusala Mahatero, Dhammakusala Thero, for his continued guidance on this program and guiding us through everything that this program is running. And of course, the Udayiriyagama Dhammajiva Mahatero, whose idea was to initiate this program. We can't forget him as well. And may you all improve your own practice with this merit as well. And thank you to all the organizers who are working hard to bring this program to you every week, and to everyone who writes reports and encourages us, and to everyone who's watching via our YouTube live stream or our recording for later. Thank you to you as well. And as usual, we will meet next week, 1 p.m. Sri Lankan time. If times may be changing for some parts of the world in the next week or two, so please do keep an eye out for the changes of time. However, the time in Sri Lanka does not change. It will always be 1 p.m. Sri Lankan time. So with that, we conclude the session. I wish everyone a happy and mindful week ahead. I will now end the session for everyone.